have you ever noticed that some actors do the same thing over and over again?
Wow.
Well, we have, and we're gonna talk about it because that's the same thing we do in every video.
Déjà vu.
Déjà vu is described as the sensation when you have an uncanny feeling that you have experienced something before, even when you haven't. Sometimes this can happen when you're watching a movie, where you get the feeling that you are watching something you have very much seen before. If you watch Deep Impact after Armageddon, that might very well be the case. But sometimes it's also down to the tics, habits, and quirks the actor brings to the table.
Wow.
Because even the best of actors have their own tendencies and trademarks they bring with them to every movie or show they work on, unable sometimes to cut themselves out of the character they are playing. Sometimes this can be endearing, and other times it can be just darn annoying. In this video, we will take a look at 10 actors who do literally the same thing in every movie they appear in. There is no question that Jack Nicholson is one of the best actors of his generation. He has won the Oscar for Best Actor twice, supporting win, and that is without mentioning the amount of times he has been nominated for the award. Nicholson is a supreme talent and is extremely versatile, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a certain trademark facial gesture, and that is his manic smile. Nicholson is well known for his unhinged characters and the way he expertly contorts his face into a Grinch-style grin that is deeply unsettling. We see Nicholson using this grin in The Shining, The Departed, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, to name a few. His most notable use of the grin was as the Joker in Tim Burton's 1989 Batman movie, where the character alludes that there is a lot more depth to this grin than first meets the eye, and that is actually used to hide real pain. As the Joker's poem to Batman states, "I'm only laughing on the outside. My smile is just skin deep. If you could see me inside, I'm really crying. You might join me for a weep." Nicholson's grin is so famous that it has warranted many an impression, with Leonardo DiCaprio's easily being one of the best. Nicholson's grin may be used to unsettle the audience, but a number of actors use a certain mannerism or gesture to prove a point. Like Harrison Ford's infamous finger point, George Clooney also has a certain physical tic while he's trying to reinforce his perspective, and that is the use of a head bobble. Whenever Clooney gets frustrated or irate, he tends to move his head in a move I can only assume is done to confuse his target and make them dizzy. Clooney moves his head so much that if they were to make a bobblehead figure of him, it would almost feel lifelike. Clooney bobbles his head in a number of movies such as Up in the Air, From Dusk Till Dawn, and even Batman. Speaking of Clooney, onto his Ocean's co-star now. If, like me, you're watching a movie, you often find yourself getting a little peckish and snacking out of habit. Like eating a bag of chips or popcorn or an entire gallon of ice cream just by yourself. I have no regrets, but it certainly doesn't help when you see the actors on screen constantly eating themselves, as is the case with Brad Pitt. Pitt is constantly grazing in his movies and is usually seen munching on something tasty.
What are you eating?
You can see Pitt eating in Seven, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Ocean's 11 to name a few. In fact, during filming for Ocean's 11, Pitt ended up consuming 40 pieces of shrimp in a single scene. And you thought me eating 1 gallon of ice cream was bad. While Pitt has said that he added the grazer mentality to the character of Rusty as he is a man always on the go, he also stated he is an actual grazer by nature, and so it would be natural for him to chow down on set. Pitt would take any opportunity he could to eat, as without sounding morbid, you don't know when your next meal will come due to unpredictable shooting schedules. He's not the only actor to do this, with RDJ often smuggling food onto set, so he always has something to snack on during filming. I did the same thing and smuggled in a gallon of ice cream while recording this video.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
After eating all this ice cream and other snacks, one of the things I need to do is go for a jog. Thankfully though, Tom Cruise has done enough sprinting in his movies for the both of us, with him showing off his running abilities in basically every movie he's in. For some reason or another, Cruise has to sprint and show off his running abilities, running to save the day as if he were Usain Bolt. Cruise sprints in Mission Impossible, Night and Day, and Vanilla Sky, and even had to shut down Times Square for the day in the latter just so he could do his trademark run. We know Cruise does like to do his own stunts, which is understandable if you're an adrenaline junkie, but does he have to sprint so much? Honestly, it's making me exhausted just watching him do all this running. Whew. After doing all that running, or in my case watching someone do a lot of running, you might need to take a deep breath and remember to breathe in and out. But someone who takes exhaling too far is Twilight actor Kristen Stewart. Stewart often uses her breathy responses as a retort or to show a wide range of emotions, including happiness, fear, offense, or just for the sake of exhaling. Yeah, that exhale can do it all. While the exhale arguably has a greater range than Stewart in the entirety of the Twilight series, the scoff didn't just end with the Twilight series. Instead, it kept popping up in a plethora of her other work, including Snow White and the Huntsman, The Runaways, and every time she's around Jesse Eisenberg. To be fair, he does have a face that makes you want to scoff. While a number of actors use a scoff or exhalation to communicate non-verbally, none seemingly use this device quite as much as Kristen Stewart. Maybe she could just never remember her lines and just exhales instead. Kristen Stewart may not bother using dialogue when communicating with characters in movies, except her means of doing it is a little bit different. When Knightley talks to her fellow characters, especially when she's annoyed, she tends to do it literally through gritted teeth, with her jaw square and clenched. In fact, she seems to do this a lot, with her speaking this way in A Dangerous Method, Pirates of the Caribbean, and King Arthur, to name a few. That might be because her teeth are as talented as her, with Knightley having the ability to play music on her teeth. As talents go, it's a weird one, but hey, it's kinda catchy. When you're watching an Adam Sandler movie, other than Uncut Gems, you can often expect a number of things. Adam Sandler doing a weird voice.
Oh, that'll never happen.
Rob Schneider making some sort of bizarre cameo appearance, having something horrible and degrading happen to Steve Buscemi to try and make us forget that he is actually a super talented actor and played awesome characters like Nucky Thompson in Boardwalk Empire, sorry, small rant there, and Kevin James falling over. But it isn't just in Adam Sandler movies that James falls over. In fact, this guy falls over a lot. Like, really a lot. Seriously, man, you may need to go see a doctor about your center of gravity or something. Usually used as a cheap gag, it would be harder to name a movie where James doesn't actually fall over, but you can see him hitting the ground in movies like In Hitch, Paul Blart Mall Cop, and Grown Ups. Like, seriously, does this guy not know how to stand? Oh! When I say the word wow, I can almost guarantee that your mind goes straight to Owen Wilson, and that's because he says the word wow a lot. How much, I hear you ask? Well, let's run the numbers, shall we? The first use of the word wow by Wilson came in the 1996 movie and first collaboration with his friend Wes Anderson in Bottle Rocket.
Oh wow, hey, that's one of your little drawings.
Wilson has used the word in movies such as Marley and Me,
Wow.
Wedding Crashers, and Cars.
Wow, look at that shine.
With the movie Midnight in Paris featuring the most amount of wows, 7 in total, with a grand total of 81 wows in all of his movies. Wilson may even bring the word to the MCU, with him set to appear in the Disney Plus Loki show, and might even make an appearance in the MCU before the likes of Wolverine and the Fantastic Four. In the words of David Diggs and some other guy who said it,
every action has its equal opposite reaction.
Meaning that for every wow Wilson says, we get an equal and opposite reaction with the word said by Keanu Reeves. In fact, Reeves has an even higher batting average than Wilson with his word wow, with him using the word 113 times in his movies. He even used the word 27 times in the movie Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which is one whoa for every movie Wilson says wow in. Reeves also uses the word in The Matrix, Point Break, and most recently in Toy Story 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to go and get the word trademarked before the release of Matrix 4.
Huh. Yes.
Like Jack Nicholson, Tom Hardy is a terrific actor with a wide range in it. In fact, the actor is so good that director Christopher Nolan covers Hardy's face in almost every movie they collaborate on, so Hardy is challenged just to act with his eyes and his voice. But despite his talents, he doesn't seem to like to use his own voice. This seemingly started when he played the role of Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, where he created the hybrid voice to imitate Bane's nomadic lifestyle.
Behind you stands a symbol of oppression.
but has since used a similar voice or an interesting accent choice in movies such as Mad Max Fury Road, Locke, The Revenant, Child 44, and Venom. Although, arguably, his best accent is as Alfie Solomon's in Peaky Blinders.
Nice little place you got here, Thomas.
But let's face it, who doesn't love Alfie? But another habit Hardy likes to use is the grunt. In Hardy's show Taboo, Tom Hardy clocked 72 grunts in one season alone. That is a lot of grunts. What did you make of this list? Did you notice these similarities? Any we missed? Let us know in the comments below and make sure to subscribe to the channel today for all this and more interesting content.